Hi guys, it's Jeff at Slavens Racing. This video is about some of my tips for installing a Rekluse auto clutch. This applies to all the different models that they have, the 3.0 EXP, the Core, the X, and the CX. This is just, how I set them up and just some little quick things that I do to make the job a little easier. So the very first thing I do is I read the manual that comes with it. It says read me first. So I only put in 2 or 3 clutches a year, so I'm not extremely proficient at it, but I've been doing this for almost 49 years, so I know my way around a clutch. But I still want to review the manual just to see if they've made any changes on their setup or whatever. But the most important part I look for, a few things actually. First I go to this page, and it gives you the specs right here on how many plates and what the thickness of the clutch pack should be. And right there's the clutch pack measurement. So I want to know those 2 things, how many plates it's going to take and the clutch pack measurement. So I go to there, I kind of skim through the rest of it just to make sure there's no new news in here. And then I go to the back. On the back of every one of these, I've tried to change this around a little bit. There used to be just a sheet in here, but I go back here and I look for the light engagement springs, they call it the low springs. So I want my clutch to engage right away when I touch the throttle and to stay engaged well when I go down hills. I hate that freewheeling thing going down a hill. So in order to accomplish that, I put the low engagement springs in there, and sometimes I even have my own little spring combo that I'll stick in there, but I'm going to start off with this every time. I don't make a bunch of modifications right off the bat. I have guys all the time that buy products and start monkeying with them before they even install them. I don't get it. Always start with by establishing a baseline by installing the product the way it was intended to be used. So it says right there I need 6 blue to have the low engagement. And there I'm pretty well done with that. And now I'm going to check this and see what it's got in it. I've already pulled one out on each side. You can see one's missing here. And to get those out, you just use a flat blade screwdriver and you push down on it because it's spring loaded. Push down on it and then turn it. I think it's a 1/4 turn. And then that comes out, and this is what the screws look like that. So this clutch pack comes with, first, before that I even take a look at these weights. So on the inside here you can see that they're gold or copper color, I guess you want to call it. And those are the heavy duty weights, and that's what I always want. And Rekluse has gone to that on all their clutches now. Used to be I had to order them that way or change them out, but now they're that way from Rekluse. And that just gives you better engagement as well. So I double check, make sure I've got the low or the heavy weights in there. Then I pop out a spring on each side because they'll have one color on this side and one color on the other side. And this one has blue on one side and gold on the other. And that's I think that's the medium engagement. So I'm going to change it to the low engagement. So I'm going to put in all blue. And you can squeeze these springs until, they're stiffer or softer. And this gold is definitely stiffer than the blue. Because, when they're lighter like that, then it's going to let the weights move out quicker. Because the weights slide out with centrifugal force and expand this clutch pack. This is called the EXP. And expand that, and that's how it works. So if you have softer springs in there, it's going to expand quicker. Now there's definitely a point there to where if you put in too soft springs, it will just stay engaged all the time. It doesn't want to disengage correctly. So you can't just go lighter, lighter, lighter. There's definitely a point there where you got to stop. So from there, I like to make things easy, and it tells you to soak this clutch, the EXP, for 5 minutes because, you know, this friction material is dry. So I just put it, you know, it comes in this plastic Ziploc bag. I just put it back in that bag and I pour oil inside the bag. I like to make things as easy as possible. So I put this in there, in the plastic bag, in Ziploc. That's the Ziploc that it came out of. And then I fill that full of, I don't fill it, but I put oil in there. I actually don't even put that much in there. I'll just put enough to soak one side, let it lay in there for a few minutes, then I'll flip it over and let it soak the other side. And then pull it out of there and throw the bag away. Keep it simple. From there, some tools that you need. Let me actually back up a little bit. So this clutch, you know, the clutch on, this is a 2020 500 XCFW, which is the same motor as the EXCF. And that clutch is the same in 17, 18, 19, and 20 on the 450s and 500s. Actually, the 250, 300, 2-strokes, and the 350 4-stroke all use the same clutch. They just have different slave cylinders. That's the slave cylinder right there. So the clutches are the same on all of them. Same diameter clutch, same plates. And so from there, I make sure I got my tools in order. I like to keep things organized. It just makes the job go smoother. And so I lay that on a little rag here. So I got my flat blade screwdriver for taking the XP apart. I've got my calipers for measuring the clutch pack. I've got a drill bit, or an electric drill here with an 8mm on here that I use to take the cover off. And then I'm going to also put this Torx on there. What size is this one? It's a 25. I'm going to put this Torx 25 on there in a little bit to install these screws on the pressure plate here. And I also have a magnet. So this has got a magnetic tip. I use that to remove these dowel pins here. Because if you drop one of these, if you go pulling that whole clutch pack out of there, and these things will start flying out of here, they can drop into here, into this area right here. Then you've got a problem on your hands. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a pain in the ass. You've got to remove the skid plate. You got to remove this big outer cover called the primary cover. And then possibly the clutch cover gasket will be damaged, so you'll need one of those on hand, which you probably don't have. So at that point, you've dug yourself a hole. So it's much easier to just use a magnet, pull these out of there. You know, you might have to get them started with your finger, but they'll just slide right out. So that's all my tips for this part. Okay, one last tip on this side. Guys ask me quite often which position I put this plate in. This plate, it's kind of hard to see in this video, but there's hashtags here. 1, 2, and 3 scribed on there. So, not hashtag scribes. Anyhow, from the factory, this bike, you can see by the marks here that the bolt was in the number 2 position. I think that's the way it is on all of them. And that's where I put them back. However they come out is how they go back in. I didn't even read the instructions to see what they say, but that's how I do it on mine. Okay guys, stop. Let's reset. I tested the factory settings, you know, the Rekluse settings, straight out of the manual. I double checked, triple checked the specs, make sure I had all the stack heights the way they wanted them, all that. Went out and rode it, and it sucked. I've been down this road before on these 4-strokes. Their 2-stroke setup seems to be much better, but I don't know why they've missed the mark so bad on the 4-strokes. The clutches are fantastic. It's excellent machining. It's excellent design. They give great product support, and their engineers definitely do a great job, but they really need to do some homework on their setup because it sucks. It just does. It engages too late. It slips too much. Disengages too much going down hills. I know I'm going to hear call from those guys over there, probably Salty Dog Joe. And he's a great guy, salty kind of dude. He can be pretty salty, but I don't have any room to talk. And I'm sure I'll be hearing about it, but bottom line is I've got a way better setup. So I've gone back to all the 1.2 millimeter steel plates that they recommended. It's 7 plus 6 of the drive plates, and or you could call them fiber plates, whatever. People have different names for them. And then I've changed these springs. So I've got blue on one side, the light blue on one side, and the silver ones on the other side. I'm going to give this a shot. I think this is the setup I've got in my other 500. I don't quite remember, but I'm going to put it together and then I'll give you a little report back. So stay tuned.